What's up, Spikelings? The stream's only source of entertainment, Esther here, welcoming you back to the Shark Typhoon. Today, we're changing things up with actual jokes and some real joy in the stream. So sit back, relax, and get ready to have fun for a change.
But yeah, I think Satoru and Goryo's is likely what you should be doing at first and see how good it is. And the idea of playing this list is like you kind of just eliminate the how all in you are. You kind of use Satoru as an engine to win instead of being all in on like persisting a tracks at some point over the course of a game. Okay, my opponent is leading on a Godless Shrine and a Thoughtseize. How good would the Bean Cascade Shell be if you just replace Beans with Satoru? I was looking at it, and I think it's much worse. You can't have multiple copies in play. Satoru doesn't draw a card if you draw it, only if you cascade into it. Your color situation will be a lot worse. It could still be also there's no more Violent Outburst, which is a big problem. But also to some extent, like to some extent, like Satoru could just be so broken you still want to cascade into it. I don't know if you can play Satoru and Archaeologist. They want different things. Yeah, no, I agree. You could. I think just cutting Archaeologist for Satoru at first seems fine. I had an idea for Lamplight combo. Okay, what's the idea? How bad is the new Cave Wreck? Is that the Rakdos sack 3 creatures, put a creature from your hand into play? I think that card is not very good. Okay, black card off the top would be nice. Not quite that lucky. Charlotte's Agent Tesoro might work for value. It's tough. I've definitely looked at it, but I don't know. It seems like it's not going to be very easy to build that deck where you actually have no other 1 or 2 mana cards, but you could potentially. You don't necessarily have to. You can play some. Any merit to get Radiant Fountain, gain 2 land in a 12 temple deck. Yeah, you could play it. Yeah. Thinking of a call. Oh, the mono black Snapcaster. Oh, yeah, I remember not thinking that card was playable at all. Looked at Breakout. I have looked at Breakout with Satoru. I think it's not a good direction to go down because besides Breakout, you're not going to have that many enablers and your color situation is going to be rough. Black-white based Stoneforge mirror. Will you try Slick Shot and Red Green spells? Yeah, all of the Skyclaves. I have Slick Shot show off Red Green Prowess build. I don't have the show offs themselves yet. Again, there's a lot more card availability issues this time around. So I'm assuming here that my opponent has Solitude for my Grief. But I feel like I'm usually going to be able to exile the Solitude here. So let's try to do that. What is this doing here? Am I playing any protection spells with Slick Shot? Not at the moment. I think that the problem is like the protection spells are just not as good with the rest of the deck, and Prowess is a deck with 4 Questing Druids and I have 4 Questing Druids and 3 Underworld Breach, so it just doesn't feel like you need protection spells. It feels like your late game is just good enough. At least that's my current thought process. Probably okay to graveyard this. I just have 2 more, kind of redundant with these prismatic endings, right? No way, you just said it's marginally better than Sprite Dragon? Oh, you're responding to someone else. It's a lot better than Sprite Dragon, but it isn't like that different from Sprite Dragon either. It is better than Sprite Dragon, I think. Okay, we'll take the other good card in their hand, and then do need to not coat this turn. Is there a world where Satoru Midnight Ornithopter cards could work? There's a world, yeah. We can try it at some point, I think. It's pretty low on my like Satoru to try tier list, but Satoru goes in so many shells. We'll get to it eventually, or other people will get to it. Man, I kind of thought they might run out of 2-mana creatures. Like, it seems like so much of their deck is probably not castable creatures. But I do just have another Prismatic Ending. Their hand is Grief, Maul, Kaldra. Certainly gonna... Stoneblade Mirror is so fun to play. How's the Phoenix List? I haven't played it yet. Likely gonna do it after this league, and then... It could be fun to play something also after the Phoenix deck. I want to go for as long as I can, but also starting so late, it's kind of tough. You can kind of get schedule gets a little derailed sometimes. Oh, I did mean to fetch end of turn there. It's not that big a deal. So if my opponent draws a land for, I don't have another Surveillance, so it's not going to be that costly. Satoru could be cool here. Mulldrifter is cool. My opponent draws a land for Grief. We may be in some trouble. Silent Clearing is kind of good. So they're gonna be able to equip here and kill my Grief, but then I'll just have... They basically need to draw Solitude after that, right? They're gonna go down to 2 life. Kind of surprised that they're not playing Cryptic Coat too. Like they're not playing the blue equipment at all. Is there much reason to? I think I just have the mana from the coat. Let's just get our basic swamp and then bounce replay. So many fun interactions with these two cards together. Cowboy Lutru any day now, Mr. Sparkles. Any day now. Yeah, I'm really hopeful about this Phoenix deck. I'm almost scared to try it because like I just have been waiting so long for like one good enabler for the Phoenix deck, and like I even forgot to mention this card in the YouTube video, which I feel so disappointed about. But like Highway Robbery just seems so perfect for the deck, and the deck really wanted another like 0-mana looter. It's not it's not Faithless Looting. I think it's about as good as Salvaging. Situationally better, situationally worse. But I don't know, just the list also just looks so like lean and mean and clean. Pick Your Poison, I also think is a really nice with Dimulich, really nice upgrade. Yeah, so with Highway Robbery that lets you plot on turn 2, and then turn 3, like having Salvaging and Highway Robbery, if you have either of these on turn 2, your turn 3 just lets you get to 4 spells for Dimulich / Phoenix. Well, Phoenix only needs 3. So much easier. So they're a Dothy Voidwalker Stoneforge deck. Let's bring in these pushes. My opponent probably does have 4 Orcish Bowmasters in their deck. I can go down a Pending. Can be like a little slow. Lively Dirge. Yeah, exclamation point card. I cannot remember what that one does. Let's do something like this. I think I'm gonna keep the 3/3. Okay, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. Okay, so we're trying for 4 mana to return 2 creatures total mana value for less from graveyard to battlefield. I don't know. I'm definitely I don't feel like I'm seeing the vision on this one. So for 5 mana, you can put a Yawgmoth into play, or 2 other pieces. Yeah, maybe. I think it's a definitely like super interesting thought, unique thought that did totally evade me. Card does seem like it's likely going to be pretty, I guess. 4 mana Reanimate, or 5 mana Entomb Reanimate. It's basically always 3 mana or 5 mana. I don't know, maybe not. But like by the point like on turn 4, like how likely are you going to have enough value to reanimate? Maybe enough times that it's not completely relevant. You know, players been talking about this one up. Yeah, I haven't seen people talk about it, but Probs Devoted Druid combo. There's no such thing as Devoted Druid combo. This is a thing of the past. I'll probably keep this on the draw with the Surveil land. Amalia combo. It's just so much mana. I don't know. Put us on a mull to 6. Maybe I should. Let's go to 6. little bit scared of grief though. His hand's basically the same. Put back Persist. You spend the same amount of Coco. Coco's not playable either. It's like, but also this card's gonna be 5 mana unless I'm misunderstanding it. It's gonna be usually Entomb plus Reanimate at the same time for 5. I think you're very rarely gonna spend 4 mana on it. Save me, Backstreets. Yes, thank you, Shadowy Backstreets. What's wrong with taking the back streets? You only get 1/2 to not 2. Oh, I don't know. The card is certainly interesting. It's not a card that like it's a card I did like certainly like initially dismiss, and could be playable. We'll see. I think I'm gonna actually get Hallowed Fountain here because I really want to be able to play Satoru with Ephemerate up next turn. I'm gonna grab Cryptic Coat here, of course. I think maybe I should grab the Aegis. I think it's gotta be the Coat. Just have other removal in my hand already. Aizva. Hope I have no idea how to say your name, but I am very thankful that you have subscribed to twitch.tv/aspiringspike. Nice that Satoru has 3 toughness. It's a bit harder to kill with Bowmaster. You don't have to play for fun to be good. You can always get a value Wolf plus Grist. Well, you can't always though, because like just like this card on turn 4 is just not going to have stuff in your yard a lot of the time. That's the problem, is you're not always going to have stuff to reanimate with it on turn 4. A lot of times you will, but a lot of times it also won't be like it won't be Wolf Grist. You know, it'll be like you'll have like a mana dork. You know. But I don't know. It definitely could be good. It definitely could be good. It's cool that you can get Yogg and Arbor together. I like that. I thrown with 18 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm open to it. Okay, let's let this go. I'm gonna be subtletying. I kind of want it to be with Satoru in play. Okay, doing something else post combat. No, just fetching for a swamp now. It's kind of weird. Let's play Satoru. Certainly wanted to do this with Ephemerate up. But I feel if my opponent had a removal spell, like a push, that they would have used it on the Stoneforge Mystic on their turn. So I don't feel like they have a push at the moment. Could be wrong. Probably fetch a player on Tidebinder. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Sure. Them getting Swamp instead of like Backstreets or Godless Shrine is like a little concerning. Oh, I was wrong. Was definitely not expecting that. My Smash Melee enjoyer, follow Mewtwo King on Twitter. I watched like the Smash documentary, and I'm friends with like some people in the Smash Bro like scene in DFW, but I myself am not really a Smash Bro player, besides very casually. But Mewtwo King followed me, trying to get me to like coach for his like, I can't remember what his like website is called. But he has like a website that he owns or runs where content creators can like coach, and he's trying to get me to do it. Yeah, but it takes the coat. Undying Malices to cast the coat. Yeah, Meatify. Do you think the prowess list is better, Gruul or Tamer? I have Gruul built. It's just like, it's almost personal preference. It's like the differences are so small and marginal. I like Gruul. I don't feel like the blue counterspells are that important in the sideboard at the moment. President Obama, thank you for the 26 months. Notably, they can't activate this. This is just, you know, True Name Nemesis. Pretty good here, though. So I could probably get a pending here. Maybe if I draw a land. Oh, I was thinking if I would drew a land, I would like. I was thinking I would activate Stoneforge Mystic, then Ephemerate, then get Aegis. I just drew Aegis though, which is funny. Acolyte, the 46 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Do you think a Gibson Given pile be workable for Lamplight combo Phoenix Octa Revival Recommission? I hadn't thought a lot about it. I like that pile though. Yeah, but here's where I'm at with the prowess stack. Feel like I don't know. I just feel pretty comfortable with the list. I like the 2 number of Soulscar Mage a lot. Something I don't know, 15 lands, 4 harvest feels good. Definitely starting with 4 show off. I think Questing Druid is better than Expressive Iteration in this archetype, and by playing it, it's kind of like we have 16 creatures. You count this as half a creature. I don't know, count it as 18 if you want. Get to play 4 mana Morphos, which seems so nice with the show off. Okay, let's go and Subtlety this. I think they're doing this now so that this will be exiled with a void counter, which is kind of a nice play. Yeah, I think at the very least, like, this build looks incredibly clean. I just don't really feel like it has a lot of issues. Puts the Bowmaster on the bottom. Not the most surprised about that. I'm down to 12 life. My opponent has 1 card in their hand still. This turn I think I'm just gonna pending my cloak, right? We 3-2'd the last league. Both matches we lost, we could have played better. Also, can't forget about equipping and turning stuff into Dothy Voidwalker. A lot going on. Can you activate Mystic Cold Priority Blink? Yeah, it's a somewhat common play in this deck. I think I will do that now. Hopefully we find something good to blink with the Rebound Ephemerate. Another Stoneforge Mystic is, I guess, not super helpful. Turn Germ into Dothy. I don't have Kaldra in my deck. In the main deck, I have it in the sideboard. I did not cite it in, right? Why not play Jace Valkyrie combo on that Demir's game we're working on? Asking a lot. So like one thing about the Jace combo is I don't know how good that combo is yet. I don't know how good that combo is yet. I have a Jace built deck. I have a Jace deck built. I want to play that as soon as I can get my hands on some Jaces. Lynn's the 22. Thank you. Welcome back. Keep up with Timeless. No, I haven't kept up with it, but I'm likely going to try to play some Timeless this season. But I just need to have a deck built around Jace first, evaluate how good that combo is, then see can we play it in a different kind of shell. Dingo, 16 months. Thank you so much. You're not streaming right now? Yeah, Tutorable O-Ring is the Aegis has been pretty good. Yeah, there's no Brewer's Pass. It's rough. I got pretty lucky on the packs I opened and with GoatBots today to get the Satoros fast. I opened 2. I was able to buy 2 pretty fast. Would you get Gojo altars on paper Satoros? Yeah. So that'd be pretty cool. Oh, sorry. I guess I can't Solitude this. They're pitched Gristlebrand. They're just gonna have Ephemerate. I can't Solitude in response, so they're just gonna Ephemerate me. So they're gonna take I guess they could take Stoneforge Mystic. One of these 2. Constant price would be great. Yeah. They said that they're going to do it. There's like a program you apply for, and that was like a few weeks ago. They still haven't rolled it out, but they roll it out at some point. You're saying it cannibalized limited on MTGO? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of just don't know how popular limited is in general, but to some extent, I feel like, as far as limited goes, like people should just want to play it if it's fun, and they should play it because they want to play it, not because they desperately need to open constructed cards. if the Magic Online economy is super reliant on people having to play limited to open constructed cards, then sure, but doesn't necessarily seem like that's for the best if that is the case. Seems like this will be a fine top deck because they're going to take probably my Satoru or my Stoneforge Mystic, and the code is good with either of these. In spots like this, is insulting valid option since trade for 3/2. Not against it. That works against Rakdos, where their Undying effects, where they play Undying Evil or Not Dead After All. Against Ephemerate decks, if you Solitude in response to the grief, they're just going to Ephemerate in response. Then you're down a Solitude white card, and then they still get to do all this. Not that I would have already said that or anything. I'm going to cast Stoneforge. We're going to get the Aegis, I think. Juice Box in 13 months. Appreciate you. And no disdain, of course. We're all learning together. Limited spikes at the beginning, then dies out. That's how it's always been arena based on queue times. Yeah. Again, I'm just kind of musing. I don't really have a super strong opinion on the issue. So they have a pending for my Stoneforge Mystic, and then we got a bunch of 3-drops and a tap land in our hand. So untap land would be a huge draw. Should not have played this first. Got too excited. Not going to be the biggest deal ever, I guess. Let me pay 60, 70 a month to play whatever I want. Base versions would destroy online market. Probably would. It's not such a bad thing. Maybe it is. So they got 4 cards in their hand. A whole lot of griefs in these games today. That's true. We've had 4 in our deck. I guess not. We did side some out in one match. Opponents. In situations like this, where our opponents they've got 2 mana, 4 cards in their hand, and they're thinking a long time. I try to get in their head a little bit, but is it like, do they have mending? Or I think they probably have prismatic ending, right? And then they're thinking to themselves, well, I've got this prismatic ending, but my opponent can just cast all the equipment anyways, so there's not a lot of point in using it. I think that's likely what they're thinking. I'm just going to evoke Mulldrifter here. Maybe we can try to find land number 4 off of this. We can also have maybe a better persist target, and if we find a 4th land, we did find a persist. We did not find the 4th land. We get to kind of double spell a bit easier next turn. I am blocking all attack. Don't think they have Ephemerate. I was wrong. Tough one. Take the Aegis. And they get to rebound too. Probably taking the persist. Bedell, 11 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I think Satoru also maybe be good as a dedicated combo piece. At the time of making this comment, I don't think I'm really thinking of Satoru as a dedicated combo piece, and basically, I can't really think of how you would start to think of it that way. I certainly wouldn't, would be open to keeping my mind to it, but I think it's going to be a value engine, almost no matter how you choose to build around it. So I'm going to go to 9 here. Again, one nice thing about their deck is they can't put that much pressure on you. Surprised to see Free Strider Lookout in your modern video. I like how it works with Field of Stream. Boy, I am doing such a bad job with names of the cards this time. The set is just so big though. It's hard to keep all the names in your head. Oh, I don't. 3 mana. I didn't talk about it, did I? But maybe you're saying you're surprised to not see it in the video. But yeah, 3 mana. 3 mana creatures that you mostly have to untap with to get value out of doesn't seem very good to me. But maybe with Wrenn and 6, it's better. Would the suspend The card suspend is unplayable. Just it's just like one of these. Delete it from your your database. It's like if you want to remove creatures in Modern, there's so many better ways to do this. So many better ways to do it. Okay, let's take a Traxa. Or not. Let's take the Prismatic Ending. Kind of a scary hand to see. Seems interesting to field and red. Yeah, it is interesting. It's definitely not a card like again these like 3-mana creatures with no ETBs that are card advantage engines you have to untap with. I almost always just like don't think about them very much. Maybe I should be thinking about them more, right? But this is usually the case. They just almost never end up being good. Okay, so they have a mending to put in the yard. Can we race them in time? We may be able to. We get to like, ooh. That's a super exciting draw. So let's go to attack for 6. So like Satoru's kind of like Satoru's like 2 mana and you get value the turn you play it a lot of the time is like why it's just like so sick in comparison. But that card is interesting with like if you have red and 6 into it, then you can commit a crime without having to untap with it, which is a big part of like making these kind of effects playable. Okay, so let's go Ephemerate this Grief and try to take the Gorios. And draw a card. Pretty reasonable card to draw. Take the Gorios, pending the Archaeologist. Hades 2 open up playtest. That sounds very fun. Can you stream the playtest? Probably can't. So do they find another copy of Gorios? Okay, game 2. Why exactly didn't they Solitude? This is why they're trying to be able to do this. Okay, got a couple hearses. We have an Ashiok. Tidebinding over Mulldrifting. Feast and Famine is usually like a piece I like against combo decks, but not against the combo deck that likes to discard so much. I want to cut the 4th Solitude for surezies. Uncut all the pendings. Really don't want the 4th Solitude. I like 3, the matchup usually. So I can play Kaldra, Feast and Famine, first Mulldrifter, probably just first Mulldrifter. Looks good enough. You think there's a Vile Satoru deck? I have a Vile Satoru deck build. It looks super fun and probably not as good as like something like this. But with Loran the Wary, baby, we're going to be cooking. So how do you feel about this 7-card hand on the play against Esper Goryo? Seems like about keepable. I don't get why Mulldrifter is the main. It is an incredible card if you already have 4 Ephemerate, 4 Persist, and need 4 blue cards for Subtlety. You could play Tidebinder over it if you're a big hater, but I think Tidebinder is a bit better in the sideboard. Your Persist are just like also just like not that good without the Mulldrifters in the main. They're okay, but they get so much better with the Mulldrifters. Okay. I think I'm just supposed to Satoru and Evoke Grief. Snapcaster Mage is not close to playable in this deck. We don't have nearly enough instants or sorceries. I also think Mulldrifter is very good in the deck. I think it's been looking good. Maybe you just need to give it a chance. Well, damn, my opponent's hand is great. I guess I can take the Purge, though. Is this too greedy? It seems a little too greedy. Yeah, let's just take the Gorios. It's just like... I'm thinking I can, like, Tidebinder the Atraxa ETB. Yeah, I'm really excited about Slick Sequence. I have one deck built with Slick Sequence. It's the Geralf deck. The Graveyard a Gristlebrand. Main phase Purge. I think we're gonna cast the Coat here. They shouldn't be like main phase fetching very often. Unless they just like really know we have Tidebinder in our hand or in our deck, which we didn't show them game 1. Do you like Magda? I like Magda a lot. I don't think Kavarek is like very close to playable. Could be wrong. People have been asking a lot about it. Maybe I'll just reread it. The set is just like so full of potential though. Karavek. Just need to reread it. I think this is another like 3-mana card advantage creature though, right? Whenever you commit a crime, it's just 3-mana 3/3. Whenever you commit a crime, like almost just by then you're like, okay, they are they are maintaining the mending. Fair enough, I guess. Exile target creature regard and copy it. May cast the copy. If you do, you lose 2 life. Yeah, you have to spend mana on the copies, right? I at the very least, I'm under the impression you have to spend mana on the copies. If you don't have to spend mana on it, it is a lot better. Maybe that goes without saying. Take the archaeologist up from digging for Gorios. Maybe people think that you can, or don't have to cast the copy. Huh. My opponent deciding to not cast Grief is interesting. Does this mean my opponent is just going to flashback the mending? Can you evoke off Karavek? I think you probably can. So my opponent can still flashback mending. If they find another Gorios, you know, we may lose this game, but it seems correct to just Tidebinder the fetch land. Not overthink it too much. Discards 2 Atraxa, so their hand is, I believe, Grief mystery card, and then another mystery card after the draw step. To some extent, you know, Gorios gamers, you got to be good at top decking Gorios. But I was pretty good at it last game. They discard a Grief and Godless Shrine, so yes, no knowns again. We're surveilling. I'm going to graveyard this. I'm just going to hold up the Tidebinder instead of hardcasting the Grief at like this point, I believe. We get Aegis. Another coat, maybe. I think we get Aegis. Put our opponent down to 5 life points. All the 3/2s in the world. 3/2 tribal. Would you say Modern's a good type if Goryo, Venge decks are top tier? Yeah. Okay, going to game 3. Yeah, Stoneforge getting a blue-white pitch. Aegis has been really good. I've been like kind of immediately pretty impressed by the Aegis. We're on the draw. Let's mulligan. Please don't grief my hearse. Funny mana situation. Surprising to see Kaldra. We have the Kaldra on the sideboard. I know it's weird, but I don't want the fourth equipment in the main deck, and I want the second coat more than I want the Kaldra, because a lot of times you tutor coat and then you. Pretty glad we have this hearse, huh? A lot of times you tutor the cloak and then pitch it to subtlety, and then really want to have a second one in your hand. I'm just gonna main phase this because Gorios is an instant speed effect. Hopefully they don't. If they surveil a legend to the yard there, that would have been so brutal. No Prismatic Ending? Looks like no Prismatic Ending. Big draw step for me also. Black card or White Source would both be really nice. More so White Source. That's a black card. I could persist the Grief here, but I feel like I would rather try to find a White Source and get the ball rolling a little bit here on the Satoru train. Maybe they have a purge and, you know, we kind of 2-for-1 ourselves. That'd be okay too, I think. Luis Navidad, thank you for 32 months. Appreciate you. Always trying to stay streets ahead. Okay, so they Solitude my Satoru. Which is fine, kind of stay at card parity, right? I guess they also have Ephemerate. If they're thinking this long. And they're deciding to keep the Solitude around instead of ephemerating the Archaeologist twice, which I guess is reasonable. So we'll just take the Purge. Would Satoru be good in the Goro Shell? I think, yeah, probably. I can't imagine it'd be that bad in the deck. Mending Indulgence Delta. Chooses the Indulgence. And is Goryo's Atraxa Indulgence mystery card. We really need to draw a land. We kept this 2-lander on the draw. They can flashback Mending if they want to. Was taking Atraxa next lane a bad idea? I have a licensed Hearse in play. It's just like let's let a Hearse do the thing and take the 1-for-1, so we don't like lose this game. Satoru, Blue Black Ninja. I know the ninjas are just not very good. None of them. No, there's like no playable ninja besides Satoru. Unfortunately. Thinking. My Persia about Vengeance. I have an unlicensed Hearse chat. I have a licensed Hearse checking the Vengeance. I don't need to worry about it very much. Could even just main phase this activation. If they go Indulgence, discard Atraxa, go again, I can just Tidebind. Otherwise, I can maybe set up for Surveillance to land 4 to go Mulldrifter plus Ephemerate. So they're main phasing. They do have another Atraxa. Do they have the land? They do have the land. We have the Tidebinder. I believe they still have to sack the Atraxa end of turn. If they don't, I'm potentially cooked, but that's my impression at the moment. Get Hallowed Fountain or Godless Shrine. Don't know. They also had to draw, another Atraxa here for them to be even able to do this. Okay, I'm just going to take this trade. It's not such a bad draw. Was waiting on the Hearse to try eating the Solitude outright. Waiting on the Hearse to try eating the Solitude outright. Assume it's bad to explode. You wanted to crew. I don't know. I don't think that's. I don't think they're gonna play into it that often, and you just kind of need to leave Hearse activations up a lot of the time. Okay, I'm not gonna rebound the Ephemerate here, or cast the Ephemerate or cycle, whatever. Gloom, thank you so much for the 43 months, long time brother. Appreciate you. Does feel like I should basically never crew this Hearse this next turn. I think I'm just playing Satoru. It's got Menace. If they don't have a Solitude or another removal spell, we can get the Teferi. They brick on their Archaeologist. Moose Droppings, great username still. Thank you for the 35 months. Appreciate you. We play a Flooded Strand. With 2 cards in their hand, they're basically never, famous last words, but basically never reanimating Atraxa in response. They'd have to have Looter Atraxa or Gristlebrand in hand and then draw 3rd Gorios off of the loot. Which can happen, but I don't think we need to play scared of it. Okay. I'm gonna second White Source. It's the easy Stoneforge this turn, but let's go and try to hit a land drop. They do get to rebound their Ephemerate here. You got a license for that hearse? Should try this Esper deck or play Goros with Satoru instead? I don't know. I can't answer the question. We've played 6 matches. We're 4-2. Punted both games we lost. Deck has been seeming good, but just too small sample size to give you a concrete answer. Okay, so they choose Tainted Indulgence here. The new Goblin Lackey can be good in Goblins Modern. I feel somewhat confident that they didn't print a new Goblin Lackey, or at least like a card that's not really comparable power level. I'm not really sure what we're talking about, but can you crew Hearst and Ephemerate to be able to exile cards in the graveyard? I guess so, yeah. That's super cool trick. I don't see why it wouldn't work. So I am out of fetchable white sources here. It's definitely been feeling really good. They sandbag their Tainted Indulgence for now. I guess I'll Stoneforge Mystic Cryptic Coat into play. They pending the hearse. And not my Satoru. So, okay, man. They don't. I was like, they have 2 cards in their hand. One of them is an Indulgence, but do they have? Is the other card Atraxa? And then they also find Goryo's. Is asking a lot. Okay, we're gonna draw a million cards here. Let me go ahead and surveil first. Whenever I see off surveil, this is something I'm potentially coding. Bless you, Esther. Yeah, let's go ahead and cloak this. So we go. Rebound Ephemerate. Oh, need to tap white mana for that, I guess. Activate Stoneforge Mystic. Put Cryptic Coat into play. Draw. Oh, I'm drawing the Stoneforge Mystic off of this. Too much card draw. Oh, wait, no. The cloak resolves before the Satoru draw. Never mind. I think I'll just go ahead and Ephemerate on the Solitude also. Draw another card. And then why don't we go to our draw step. Another Satoru. Ephemerate Stoneforge Mystic. Draw another card. It's a Grief. So I'm going to grab Coat again. Evoke Grief. Draw another card. That's it could be better. It could have been. I mean, although they were about to hardcast it. Although we could have been subtlety that, I guess. Just literally, I have no idea how many cards I've drawn off Satoru this turn. We hit a Grief off the cloak. Is this usually how Satoru is performing, or is this a special turn? I mean, it's a special. You don't usually draw 6 cards with it in a turn, but Satoru has been great all day, yeah. Yeah, it's not. You don't usually draw 6. You draw a little less. Was it 6? I don't know. Do they keep a card on top? They do keep a card on top. Is it Atraxa? Is it Goryo's? It is Goryo's. Pretty gross. Can we outvalue the Goryo's here? Notably, I did get really punished for griefing. My opponent also they have 7 cards in their deck after this. But I guess that they just discard Atraxa Goryo as Atraxa, which they probably can. Any room for Archons? No, because you also have to play a bunch of looters too. If you play Archons. So they do only have 1 Goryo's left in their deck right now. if it's like in the bottom few cards, we aren't dead. And it is not. Brutal End. If I didn't evoke the grief we were cooking, it's kind of hard to say. Foresee the sequence of events though. Kind of tough. Why did we ephemerate? What? I mean, I wanted to draw a billion cards, and we did, and it seemed like my play last turn was totally fine, and my opponent had like the very specific sequence of events that can happen for us to lose there, right? We cast 2. Yeah, I felt pretty good about every single play I made the turn prior. I don't know. Could have played a little differently, but certainly nobody was asking why did we ephemerate when we ephemerated. You know what I mean? It's like after my opponent's last card is Gristlebrand, and then they top deck Goryo's. Why did we ephemerate there? But like, I don't know. It just seems so good at the time, and I think I would do it again. I think I'm getting Aegis first. Yeah, we lost. My opponent's last card was Gristlebrand, which they could have hard cast the next turn, but I evoked Grief and took that. Then they found Goryo's into Gristlebrand and Attract. So yeah, we could play some pest controls on the sideboard. I don't know. A lot of people are like hyped about the card, but it's just a sideboard card that will be good against some decks and not. I'm just not that, don't care that much about it. I'm just saying, holding up second can't lose at all. And what I'm saying is you're being kind of obnoxious, like with the nitpicking the plays so much, and like maybe you're right. Maybe I should have should have not helped the Ephemerate. It felt really good at the time, and it's just the hindsight is obnoxious, is what I'm saying to you. I don't know. It's just so. Like you ask why I ephemerated there. It was like pretty clear. I get to draw like an extra 3 cards with the ephemerate. I get to progress my situation. My opponent has to have very specific series of draws for me to not win there. And I don't know. It's just annoying to pick. Is not something you're saying like on the turn it happened. I think I'm gonna evoke the Mulldrifter here and set up 2. Persisted next turn. Yeah, it's just like I don't know. You're not wrong. It's just not a very helpful or productive comment. Okay, we'll give the Akeem Pakal the respect of a subtlety here. What are more non-gnome creatures? So if they put it on top, maybe we're Prismatic Ending the Isamaru. They do put it on the bottom. Crewhearse and Ephemerate in response for pending. Maybe I'll say this: if your comment is correcting my plays from a match ago, I appreciate the energy, I appreciate the sentiment, but let's move on. Oh, there wasn't untapped white. I couldn't ephemerate at the time. This is always the case too. I've lost like the plot and I forget what's going on. But yeah, I couldn't even. fetch another white source there because I had Delta and I couldn't get the planes, and I had Hallowed Fountain and Godless Shrine already in play. I'm also not sure I had. I just had Stoneforge Mystic untapped. I don't even think I could have even crewed the hearse. Odds opponent has Ragavan in the deck? Yeah, it does seem pretty high. I'm hoping that they play something pre-combat. I get to Subtlety, I get to block Ephemerate. Are you okay? She's been sick all day. So Taurus from untapped from Uniform. Okay, sure. But again, I didn't have the other white source.
You see her?
Yeah, I know she's been.
She's right there.
Oh, I didn't know she was there. Don't, you can't twist me that way. Yeah. Wow.
There she is.
Is this Legend deck a real thing? No, I think this archetype is awful. It's just like, you know, with Peace and Love, of course, but it's like these decks are really slow. They're really easy to interact with. They're really easy to race. They're slow and fragile and inconsistent, which is just tough combination to be. They're really cool though. Probably good to evoke this grief here. That's a hand. Legendary Questing Beast. First strike as long as it's equipped. Whenever you attack with another legendary creature, draw a card. I feel like the Questing Beast is the worst card here because it just doesn't create another token, another creature. You could promote others. Nifty Brood, Breakout Legends. I think I'd sell the list. I don't know. Again, like the problem with the archetype is just like the plan is is I don't know, it's bad. That's the problem. Oh, and sorry, I should have exiled this first, although it's not the biggest deal, I guess. Because they can just Plaza of Heroes anyways, which they probably will do. So they are using the Plaza of Heroes. I've already used my Aegis. Let's get rid of the Mary, and then I think I'm just going to take 5, basically taking 2 down to 5. Didn't you deck tech this last week? I think I said very similar things about it last week. I've deck teched this archetype a few times for sure. So I can go Stoneforge Mystic and hardcast Subtlety and get a Surveil land. Seems good. I think I'll probably chump block with the Drifter if they don't play anything pre-combat again. Yeah, I've deck tech Legends a few times, and I don't know. It is super cool. I would love for it to be good, but it just has so many problems as an archetype. So my opponent's hand is Questing Beast mystery card here. Kithian is pretty big. I think it's pretty bad for me if I just don't get to use the Subtlety this turn. Yeah, the new Ajani may help this archetype, I don't know. Like one thing too is like it just kind of seems like you could just play Zoo instead. Okay, they put Kithian on the bottom and seems like they don't have anything else. We're gonna Surveil again. think Grief is just kind of too bad if they have like double questing beast or like another Adeline. It seem like they have a lot of these kind of effects, and I think I need to try to play to the board better if possible. Should I attack with my subtlety? Let's not. Be helpful if there was a legendary 1-mana haste creature that was good on its own. I agree. I agree. Alright, so this is only indestructible. Yeah, might as well let them attack here. 6/5 Ward 1 Questing Druid is so cool. So I think I'm gonna go shotgun this Godless Shrine. I was debating on whether or not to block with what to block with, either double block Subtlety and Stoneforge Mystic, maybe block with Solitude. I think I'm just gonna put this in and then decide. Another Stoneforge Mystic. I think I'll block like this. I'm gonna keep the Solitude in play for these free lightning helixes. Pretty big. I think I'm out of fetchables. Yeah, these are all my fetchables in play right now. 4, 5, 6. We can bounce the coat end of turn. Can block a top decked questing beast. 2 mana 5/4 Ward 1 with Plaza of Heroes up. Trades for my troll, I guess. Yeah, I know it can't block the troll. I don't know if how concerned with that I am necessarily. I'm just gonna cast the Grief. Just to have like another nearly unblockable. Don't know if there's any top decks that get me, but we'll find out. Up the game. Seems like Fatal Push is good against their deck. Let's bring in the Kaldra over the coat. Let's go down on Mulldrifters. Don't think I want Tidebinder. Probably Persister like a lot worse if we are just down on Mulldrifters. We'll put like 3/2. I think it could be too slow against them. Can't be that bad because it's just like turn 2 Satoru evoke Grief. Satoru maybe blocks kind of well. Am I gonna get Hallowed Fountain basic Swamp Cycle maybe? I have a Ragavan, it's pretty good. Satoru is a 2/3 against the Ragavan at least. So drawing this could be good to. We have a lot of options. We can plan to persist our Grief. We can plan to persist our Troll maybe next turn. Oh, that's a big Ragavan. How's Satoru? Satoru has been great. I mean, we've certainly built the deck to like maximize Satoru, but it tends to be how I like to do it at first. Of course. It's a tough spot here. Maybe it's just not that tough. Maybe it's just kind of easy. But well, no, sorry. I forgot about the -1 counter. I thought it was going to have 5 toughness against the Ragavan. Yeah, I guess we're just going to go for Kaldra. Tough turn. We're pretending Satoru's up the beanstalk. The thing is, Satoru is in a lot of ways better than up the beanstalk. Like, it doesn't, Grief triggers it, Subtlety triggers it. Fury is banned now. But it gets triggered off the 4-mana ones. It gets triggered off Ephemerate. It gets triggered off Cryptic Coat. It's triggered off Persist. Like it isn't a 2-mana cantripping enchantment, but it is, a pretty reasonable sized creature, and it pitches to 2 cards itself. What's nice about Satoru, I think, at least for the health of Modern, is it doesn't seem like there's going to be a good way or like a clean way for you to cascade into it as like your deck's main game plan, which I think is excellent news for the health of the format. Dude, I haven't seen Minas Tirith like ever in Modern. It's so cool. I think Legendary Beanstalk wouldn't be very good. It would be a Modern staple for sure. The first copy would be as good, you know what I mean? Like, it would be a modern staple. It would be much worse than the other Beanstalk build, and you probably wouldn't be cascading into them. So they know I have this Kaldra. I can't really go for Aegis that well, right? Should I Cryptic Coat? Let's go for the Cryptic Coat block, since it seems like they've got a plan for my Kaldra. I don't know what it really could be, but this seems like kind of a good block here. Oh, interesting. They just yeah, I mean, if they're just going to spend their turn sacking a Plaza of Heroes, that's okay. Hopefully we can surveil ourselves into a land. Also, we can just go like Satoru into Evoke Grief and see what's going on, and then we can figure out what to do with our Stoneforge Mystic the best. That is what happens. How's the record? We're 3-2 into 1-1. Every game we've lost, we could have played differently to win. It's always so, when you're playing a new deck, very tough to with so many decisions too, very tough to play perfect. Huh. Well, that's not so scary. But the most important stuff is how are the new cards feeling? Satoru has been looking awesome, and Aegis has also been looking really good. At the very least, this has seemed like a good first draft of a Satoru deck, and it seems like there's also a lot of different ways you could play this archetype. I kind of just want to subtlety this. Probably a little too spewy. Okay, they just did not see that I searched up this Kaldra, I guess. They can't even save it with Plaza of Heroes that get exiled. Alright, let's keep Grief Scam and a Stoneforge Mystic. Up against Karuga. Moray coffers. We may never play. Okay, wait, it's not done. We may never play this on stream. It looks so fun though. It looks so fun. Moray coffers with Pillage the Bog and Insatiable Avarice, with Invoke Despair and Cut to Ribbons as your win condition. And I was thinking about main decking 4 of these for life gain, because that was something I felt like this list was really missing, was any amount of life gain. This looks really bad, but so sweet. Yeah, I have a Jace list ready to go. I'm gonna wait to reveal that one, I think, until I get my hands on some Jaces. But I do have a list ready to go. They keep a card on top. They did keep a card on top. Is it a Scion? It's a Leyline Binding. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like the problem with this shell is like Amori just isn't that good. Like if Amori was like a Karuga and like could draw like 3 cards when you casted her, it would be pretty nice. But Pillage the Bog is probably just a pretty good card to splash in the normal Coffer's shell. I just kind of built this because I thought it looked pretty fun. I think I'm gonna get Aegis. I just like have this other Stoneforge in my hand. Please stop fighting with the mods in the chat. If you get timed out, it's just not that serious. I'm sorry if you disagree with the mod, but like fighting in the chat is just not a good way to go about it. Need builds playing with 2-mana artifact that does 2 damage and makes 3 threes. I have my Magda deck is playing 1 copy of that card. Exile Unmath with Aegis. It'd be pretty cool. Brand with the 25 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Land could be a good draw here. Yeah, it's just not that personal, and then you're just starting to fight with the mods in chat. It's just a bad time for everybody, and I really encourage you not to do it, even if you feel like you were unjustly timed out, which does happen sometimes. I said why quoting you is wrong. Just trying why quoting me is wrong. I don't know. It's okay if you got timed out for no reason. It's like it just happens sometimes. A lot of times it's even like a misclick from the mod. You know, they meant to time out someone else. It's not personal. I understand it can feel personal. But I'd appreciate not spamming the chat with fighting the mods. It's like also playing playing Insatiable Avarice without Children Bowmasters kind of stinks. So it's not really very likely to play this one on stream, I think. Okay, so we are not going to get to put anything in here. Context timing matters too. Yeah, it does, but again, it's just I just encourage you to please let it go. The mods are doing their best. It is not a personal thing. Okay, so we're going to put a coat into play in response to the Ephemerate rebound. We are out of Equipment Institutor. So we can Rampant Growth ourselves here, which I think my hand is really mana hungry, and I can just cast a 3-drop if I hit a land, or cast Stoneforge Mystic for more loops and stuff if I don't, and maybe a little too painful to shock here, but I do want the extra blue. I want the Stoneforge in play here. Three Surveil lands. Feels like people like the Leyline Scion decks either played no Surveil lands or like a million of them. Doth Triumph in the yard. Yeah, no Brewers past this set. Why can you activate Stoneforge? I Ephemerate it, so it's like a new copy of Stoneforge Mystic, basically. Karuga into the hand. This Karuga is going to be pretty good. Could copy. Exile and copy the Karuga. Okay, so I'm going to actually put in the coat first. If I see Satoru, if I like get Satoru off the coat, then it's kind of easy to like evoke Solitude in response. It's a Mulldrifter, which is a good hit, I guess. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'm going to Solitude the Tidebinder, and then I'm going to Aegis. Oh no, I can't Aegis Karuga, right? It's just too bad if they get rid of my Aegis. I get to hit them for a lot. I'll just Aegis the Tidebinder. They just have probably too many ways to get rid of Aegis to draw a million more cards. And we'll Tidebind. We'll get this now so that they only get to draw 2. It's a lot of responses. Evoke Solitude, response Agate seems like a fun play. Yeah. I feel like here I just want to get ahead on board and texture card, but try to keep in mind all the like the weird lines of the Aegis. So they're gonna gain 5 to 23. 3 cards in their hand. One of them is a Leyline of the Guild Pact. Kind of cool to a Scion, huh? Especially in game 1 at least. Okay, so let's just get in for 4, have Hardcast Subtlety up, or we can bounce a Cryptic Coat and put it back into play. Plays a Forest, so unlikely to have an Omnath. We're paying cost though. Prismatic Ending? Oh, just okay, resolves. Love to see big fat nothing. Find a Subtlety off the cloak. Then we find Satoru as our draw step for turn. Oh yeah, Kruga means no pending. It's just like the way they were tapping the mana made me think of pending. Oh, sorry. I thought I had clicked attack with everything and undid this. I guess I did not do that. -3 damage. Looks like another ley line. Oh, or the One Ring. -3 damage, huh? So I think what I should probably do is ring into Scion, huh? I was gonna bounce both Cloaks so I could go Satoru, then put Cloak into play. Draw a card. Seems like we're gonna probably not be able to beat the Scion. I'm kind of cold to it game 1. We have subtleties and stuff. Maybe we should have more answers for Leyline post board. Trying to think how we overpower it. Seems like just with the ring going, it's just not going to be that possible here. Find any loops to let you draw your whole deck with Satoru? No, I haven't been like necessarily looking for one of those, but you could be. Have another Tidebinder. Let's go ahead and save ourselves some time. So bring in the Loran. It's our first Leyline Scion opponent today. I think I do want to be in on the Tidebinders. I want to be cutting all my Prismatic Endings. I want to be down Mulldrifter, down Persist. Not going to bring in the Ashiok. Is this a Feast and Famine matchup? Feels like an okay Feast and Famine matchup. It can't be Rhinos, they have Karuga. Maybe I don't want Aegis. Yeah, let's cut the Aegis and just play the second coat. It's on 61 cards main too. Maybe we could cut blockable ring damage. Yeah, I think it was. I felt pretty good about the concession time. I want to get to a lot of stuff today, so I feel like against opponents playing, on the slow side, in a game where it's probably going to take us 10 minutes to actually die. Let's just keep going. Missing sideboard hibernation. Yeah, I feel like we could use definitely an extra disenchant on the sideboard. And a null. This is not a deck that's very good at holding up counter magic, and is a deck that does want cards like Lorien that you can ephemerate and get, reuse your disenchants. keep that on top. And I guess again, in this matchup, I should probably be Stoneforging this turn so I can just use my mana a lot better. Like, they can't even play Scion next turn, so there's not a lot that I am really trying to pressure with the Grief Ephemerate here. Just wait a second. And then I think my hand is mana intensive enough to go for the Feast and Famine. It also kind of complements the Grief Scam plan. Then maybe like kill my Stoneforge here, that would be okay. Is okay. Do the thing. Don't get to double spell this turn, but that's gonna have to be okay. I guess kind of an easy take both Tidebinders. The Scion isn't castable at the moment. Although I guess if I had left them with a Tidebinder, it could have been kind of nice to like Tidebinder their Tidebinder. When they ephemerate on my turn, it's probably a little deep. They keep a card on top. I feel like they waited so long because what they've kept on top is a black source for Scion. I feel like, to me, it seemed like that was like the perfect amount of time to be like, I guess I'll keep a fetch land. Which means I think this Tidebinder can get them next turn. It could be wrong. My read could be wrong. They drew an Omnath. So seems like I should Tidebinder this and then Grief the Scion, and if they kept a land on top like I think that they did, then it won't be that good, and they'll just put Karug in their hand. Very interested to see if my read was right there. We'll see. Or Leyline. Yeah, they could have kept Leyline on top there. In which case, this outcome worked out a lot better for us. I think it's a fetch land. They play Boseiju, so maybe you're right about Leyline. Okay, I'm just classic overreading way too much into my opponent tanking on their Surveil. Another well-timed copy of the One Ring. Let's evoke Mulldrifter. If we hit runner lands, the sword is really nice, and obviously with the Persist in our hand, the Mulldrifter is also pretty good. Next turn we could Satoru, then Persist the Mulldrifter. Could do also hit them with Feast and Famine maybe. I think Satoru shines more in Legacy. Yeah, I think it'll be very good in Legacy too. I think it'll be cross-format Superstar. Neighbors with Nathan's card. I kind of like Nathan's card. I don't have a deck really in mind for it yet, and I think that'll kind of probably end up being just like a little bit worse than other options in almost any deck. But I would love to find a spot for it. So now I think I might just get Watery Grave since they're chaining some rings together. Find a land you can do both. Yeah, yep. So I was gonna Surveil looking for one, but now I'm just gonna get Watery Grave, I think, because can't really go for the Feast and Famine play. Can Satoru keep up on cards with the One Ring? It can certainly try. Okay, so drawing 3. Any lands? Nope. Kind of half land. I mean, I don't I just don't know what the ring did during R&D. It was so boring. I've told this before, but it was like 5 mana, It was a 5 mana indestructible artifact, and it was so boring. I can't remember what the text was on it. It was completely uninteresting. It seemed like the kind of card that was like intended for EDH because it was like a more casual thing, but it was like even the thing it was doing was boring. I remember I was like, and I remember I gave the feedback that like this card is boring, and it's like a shame that it's like on such an iconic card that this card is as boring as it is, and I recommended tuning it up, and boy did they tune it up. Do they have the Scion to go with this leyline? Very nice. Probably cooked here. Give it our best shot. So let's see what's in their hand. A Solitude and a Dead Gone. I didn't draw my land for Sword of Feast and Famine. The only way I could is if I evoked Solitude, which doesn't seem like the way. Let's just go ahead and Ephemerate this Grief. Getting the extra menace creature in play I think is kind of nice. There's the land. Little late, unfortunately. We get to play another evasive creature here. Also, we get to rebound on the Grief to like try to maybe clear the way for the Feast and Famine. Okay, then play this. I think it's a bit better than the average top deck. What did I imprint with the card? Another Satoru. That's actually pretty relevant. I'm gonna graveyard it. I think it's pretty close. Then we can attack with Grief and Satoru. Shout out Menace. My opponent will go down to 6 and then up to 10. Satoru's been really good. It's been really, really good. Been tough to beat. I haven't even tapped their ring yet. That was their top deck. I have a draw list built. I think it looks pretty solid. I'm also playing. I think I don't pull it up. Oh, not this one. This one's probably never getting played. Also playing Slick Sequence in the deck. I think it's a pretty good candidate to try Slick Sequence. It's a card I like a lot. Yeah, save us, Loran. They have 5 more mana available to them here. They Karuga in their hand. Still have to deal with that. So I guess I'm ephemerating Mulldrifter. Which lets me draw 3 cards, which is a lot of cards. Doing our best to keep up with the ring. Okay, so let's start off with an evoked Grief. Another card off Satoru. Take the Karuga, I guess. Okay, so let's say I put the sword on this Tishana's Tidebinder. And then I attack with all of my menace creatures. And then they can double block one of my menace creatures, and then I Solitude it. Then my opponent will take 5 plus 5. And die if they don't find Solitude, but we have Subtlety for Solitude. Seems like a plan. Seems like a plan. I like how much of like a punt this looks like. It's kind of funny. Make sure not to attack with the cloak creature. I guess I can attack with the cloak creature, right? Why not? Yeah, just can talk about that too. I may not be able to Solitude your creature's opponent, but I can Solitude my own Satoru. Can't do this with Up the Beanstalk. Okay. Guess we can cast that. This shouldn't matter really at all. Oh, it will let me hold up Tidebinder and evoke Subtlety to cast the Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, they're just dead. Okay, I thought they were going to 1. Sorry, I thought they were going to 1. Nice. Let's go. That was a tough game. Yeah, I thought they were going to 1, and then when there's like Solitude and upkeep stuff, but I'll take a dub. Oh, they could also Tidebinder too. Like, fine, they have like a bunch of Tidebinders in their deck. Yeah, good thing I attacked with the cloak. Almost missed it. Dude, Scion, Wayline Scion sucks. Not gonna click the mulligan button, probably. The stream is really distinct from the video. It may be an issue on your end. That isn't feedback I've heard ever, I think. Could be on your end. No main deck Kaldra. Yeah, I just like think I want the second coat more than the first Kaldra. The Kaldra's in the board, but like because you are like evoking, you're pitching Cloak to Subtlety enough of the time, you really want to have the second one in the deck. And then the Aegis has been really good. So I don't know. Don't really think there's room. What about the new Magda in a mono red second Citadel deck? Triggers off relic fields, all the removal seems nice. Yeah, you could definitely do that. I like the thought a lot. And I will certainly keep it in mind. This is where I'm at for my like first draft of Magda, more in on Goblin Engineer, which is maybe bad, but Goblin Engineer also lets you play Legion Extruder, which is really nice. We also get to play Lava Spur Boots, and I don't know that I would be playing either of these cards in that kind of shell, but that kind of shell does sound good. I didn't really think so much about the fields committing the crimes. But I've played Inti Asmo as a mono red Sunken Citadel deck, and I liked it. And then like maybe Magda's like better than the One Ring in that deck. What about Magda Scam? So you need to play 4 Mishra's Bauble in all your Magda decks. I think you also really want to play Relic of Progenitus. Have looked at Enigma Jewel Extruder. No, what extruder what? I do love Enigma Jewel though. It's a good way to get my attention. So Mike thought about Enigma Jewel? Now I am. Updated Blue Cauldron with boots. I don't know. It's been a little while since I've been feeling Blue Cauldron. Kind of about the Red Cauldron now. Oh, this card. I just literally pulled it up. The extruder is. I don't understand Legion Extruder. What is it? What does it mean to extrude? You know, to extrude or not extrude. Appears to be the question. Let's see about Tidebinder this turn. It's maybe a little loose. I'm not sure. To poop them out. Okay. Guess that makes sense. So you want to play this with Enigma Jewel so that you have the mana to sack it all the time. It's kind of a cool thought. I guess they also have a lot of Tidebinders, huh? God, not fair. I want to be the one Tidebinding. Dude, we drew a land. It does feel like they have Tidebinder up. So since it feels like they have Tidebinder up, I think what I should do is fetch end of turn, and then if they try to Tidebind that, I can fetch again and then Tidebinder their Tidebinder. And then with the original fetch, I can get a Surveil land and try to find land for Feast and Famine, and then I could Solitude and they couldn't block. We'll see. I think here also, like, I don't want to try to Tidebind this fetch because it just plays into their Tidebinder too much. Yeah, it seems okay. It seems okay. to try to Enigma Jewel plus this. Again, the problem is like that kind of plan is very slow and very easy to disrupt. Which is kind of why, and I'm not sure about this shell, but what I like about this shell is like we have a lot of burn. We have like I think Magna presents a lot of pressure on your opponent, and then we also have a lot of interaction with like Relic and Needle and Haywire Might in addition to the blasts. Okay, so I think we're about to win the Tidebinder fight. I hope I'm right about this. Opponent, I'm cracking my fetch land. Opponent. Okay, I'm going to crack this fetch land too. Okay, so let's see what our top card is here. Another copy of Solitude. Let's go and put that in the graveyard. Then let's untap. Cast Satoru. And I evoke Solitude, and they're going to Tidebinder my Satoru trigger or my Solitude, and I'm going to Subtlety, or they're going to try to, but I'm going to Subtlety them. They did have the Tidebinder. Let the record show. I could smell it. Do they also have Subtlety blue card as their last two? They have Solitude white card as their last two. So I get to gain 2 life. So this is actually our second league. Satoru's been really good though. Good with the free spells, good modern card. It's all just kind of that simple. Not sure what we're waiting on here. Are we taking a screenshot of the stack? Will my opponent put this Tidebinder on top? I think that they will almost definitely put it on the bottom. It's not a very good card to like leave on top, and if your opponent know about it. If we draw a land off the Satoru trigger, we are very happy. They do put it on the bottom. They also still have their Karuga. We did not happen to draw a land, so we got a game. Got a game. They're top decking. I've got Subtlety. I've got 4 spells in my hand. Can't feel too bad. Satoru feels much less dangerous being. Yeah, the fact that it doesn't cantrip by itself is just such a big deal for that. So they have a Scion here. I think I'm gonna let this go and then try to Subtlety Karuga. I think the Karuga is like a little too scary here. Kind of close. You know, not the scariest with me being at 17 and them not having Leyline. Yeah, let's hold up Tidebinder / Subtlety with the intention of Tidebinding the Karuga with the option of top decking a land and using the sword to get in through the Scion potentially. I guess they wouldn't leave it back to block. You draw a card off Satoru for stuff like Fable last chapter. Oh yeah, there's so many interactions with Satoru that you're like, oh yeah, that also draws a card. That is not one I've heard yet. Pretty nice. So they just passed. Let me run up the Tidebinder. Because it's kind of nice that if we draw a land, we can like... if they have Solitude as their last card and we draw a Tidebinder, we can Subtlety the Solitude and then hit them with the Feast and Famine, make them discard the Karuga. And then I guess Persist Solitude post-combat. Again, that's all if we drew the land, which we did not draw. Could hardcast the Grief. Could just hold up mana. Let's attack first. I think I'm just hardcasting Grief. It's like if they have Solitude, I can evoke Grief. If they have Subtlety, I can evoke Grief. And if I just can get this Karuga out of their hand, it's just so nice. Also, the perfect info is really nice. I don't need to worry about this so much because I just have Persist for Solitude. Yeah, Aegis has been like a lot better than I thought it would be too. I've been really liking it. Just pitching to both types is also really, really good, but been a big Aegis fan here. Now, do I have to Subtlety this? If I've already telegraphed the Subtlety, which I guess is a problem. Yeah, let's go ahead and well, they're just gonna put it on top. That's okay though. That's okay. I think I am enough worried about falling too far behind here. Am I saying Aegis wrong to troll chat? No, but this has never been a pronunciation stream. Yeah, we'll definitely play Phoenix today. I didn't graduate college, you know. I don't know how to pronounce words. Land off the top. There's a new plot card that works really well with Phoenix. It lets you have like another 0 mana spell. Yeah, keep that on top. I did get glasses last week. What's the pro tip for not smudging them all the time? I'll let you know if I figure it out. I smudge them all the time, and you know, I just gotta keep them clean. Opponent's got 4 minutes on their clock, 50 seconds. Should be enough time. Yeah, I guess, yeah, try not to touch them. Glad that they main phase that. How Persist felt? I think the core Persist, I think, is just good in the deck with 4 Grief, 4 Solitude, 4 Mulldrifter. And also has extra synergy with Satoru. So am I attack? I guess I just don't attack. Well, I get to hold up the Ephemerate and not lose to a top deck copy of the Ring. Guess that's okay. Don't love going down to 5 life, but I can leave this back as a blocker after. Opponent hopefully learns how to F6 at some point. Getting lightning helixed. When Solitude attacks and isn't blocked, evoke a copy of Siege Rhino. So they just draw a land for turn. So big top deck for me here. A lot of good draws. Tidebinder is good enough for me to attack. I think what I should do is cast the Tidebinder now and then equip second main phase. Kind of weird, but like if I need the Tidebinder or something, I still have the Ephemerate, and then I can maybe just make it to where I get to keep both Tidebinders. Like I just attack with one, move the sword over post combat. And this could result in like my opponent just being at 3 less life. My opponent's drawn a spell. A kind of awful spell here, because now the Solitude is green and black, and so are their leyline bindings, but leyline binding can still target the sword. So I should have griefed main phase 1. But it won't really matter very much. I just can't move the sword over again. So I can draw step the Ephemerate, which stops top deck Scion, and this is worse against top deck instant speed removal. And to actually trade, which kind of stinks. Yeah, should have main phased 1. Resolve though. Okay, bummer. So we get the trade, I think up to 15, and then we do have them on a 2-turn clock. A lot of incredible draws here, a lot of bad draws here. That is certainly on the incredible draw list. I always hate to call out what my opponent could draw, but I think it's kind of like just Scion really. But even Scion, I guess we're not. No, they're dead on board to Scion because they can't block either creature. Never mind. So I had like Supreme Verdict or something. Let's get another 4-1 prediction going. They put a Subtlety in the yard. Magician, 32 months? Yeah, it is a long time, huh? Yeah, Tribal Flames would do it. I don't think that card's in their deck. You don't see it and Solitude together very often. Can beat a Solitude. Oh, the Solitude can't even exile Tishana's Tidebinder. It has to target the Grief. Karuga? We already got the Karuga. Oh, they also have Karuga, so very unlikely they have Tribal Flames. Wow. I guess this was it. You don't also see a lot of Lightning Bolts in Karuga decks, so we can go to 3. Probably should have just killed the Grief, though, right? When it gives us the GGs. Great match. Wait, no, don't GGs then cast a spell. Besiege you. Not today, besiege you. Okay, sorry. 3-1. Lost playing for 4-1. Last time against Hammer. Did not play the best. What match we played? The Esper Mirror game 1. Good luck rest of the week. Thank you, you too. GG's. I'm clicking keep. Oh no, my desk isn't standing. Guess it is a sitting desk today. Something got unplugged. Deck tech for High Nation. Ooh, is someone Satoru affinitying? Maybe. Okay, so almost definitely cycling this troll. Copy of Whir Prison. Oh, Whir Prison. Legion Extruder. Well, like one chatter was saying earlier, Enigma Jewel would like... Oh, you have 4 Enigma Jewels. Okay, never mind. Duh, you do. Nice. 2 mana drill 2. So let's get... I think we just go Godless Shrine. And then Swamp Cycle for basic Swamp. Go Satoru the Infiltrator. The next turn we can like Persist Troll, Ephemerate, draw 2. No prediction. Yeah, there was a prediction. I feel like you really need like 1 Lantern of Insight and 1 like Codet Shredder or whatever to like make sure that your opponents are not top decking their way out of this, which seems unfortunately at the moment likely pretty easy for them to top deck their way out of this build. But just being able to tutor like just like 1 Lantern and then 1 like piece later seems like a good direction to go. Let's persist the troll. And then I think I have the intention here of blocking the Nettle Cyst and then ephemerating it to gain the life and then maybe start getting in. Beyond that, I don't feel like you're missing a lot, and the list seems kind of okay. These engineered explosives don't seem great in the main deck. I'll maybe just sideboard them and then play 1 Lantern, 1 Coated Shredder. Wish you luck. Yeah, I think just wish you luck after that. It seems like I wouldn't really change anything else. Not an archetype I love. Couple of opponents running Satoru. I know it's not true. They're probably playing the like either Satoru and or the new synthesizer card. We may need to find a Solitude. So they're doing this to win this combat. Not that I was that interested in this combat. Grief, huh? Let's start off by evoking this Grief. Draw another land. That is a very scary hand, opponent. Congratulations to you. Take the Thought Monitor. And then let's cast 2 Stoneforge Mystics, and then... Does kind of seem like my troll won't be able to block. Can maybe double block. I'm brave enough to discard. I'm brave enough to discard a plating and leave it with monitoring. They had 2 platings, so I don't know. I don't know about that. Did you see they had 2 platings? Or... You're just that brave. I need to reread Happily Ever After. People have asked me about it with Scion for a long time, and I... Beginning your upkeep if there are 5 colors among permanents you control, 6 more card types among permanents in control or graveyard, and life total greater than starting life total to win the game. Seems fun. Okay, so let's go to Subtlety here. Looking rough. I think we are going to take 9 and jump with 1 Stoneforge Mystic. And then it's a pretty good chance we survive this turn, but winning the game is not exactly the same as surviving. Okay, I think I'm just going to play Watery Grave tapped with the intention of using Stoneforge for Aegis and Ephemerate this turn cycle. I'm going to have to get rid of the Ornithopter. Need pest control. I don't have the heart to pest control a poor Affinity gamer. I'm not that cruel. Yeah, the problem is I need to block all 3 of these. And then Assimilation Aegis this. So I have to go chomp, chomp, chomp. And then Ephemerate Satoru, because I am not winning any other means here. I drew Persist. Something. Aegis the Ornithopter, and then take like 5. So we draw like Solitude white card. I could get the job done maybe. Prismatic Ending. Just trying to think if there's any series of like Satoru top decks. There probably is. I think we I don't think I tapped the plains. I think we persist the troll. And then again, it's gonna involve Solitude no matter what, so kind of just had to draw it there, and then I don't think if I draw it off this cloak do we get to stabilize, but it also just didn't find a Solitude in 28 cards. Overall record, or 6-3 at the moment. So down a game. Just feel like we want like a pest control or like another Loran, just more disenchants. Fatal Push is pretty mid against them. Tidebinder is pretty good. I think we're gonna have Tidebinder over Mulldrifter. Kaldra over Second Coat. Tinker, 5 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Down a Persist. Maybe I want to cut the Persist. They saw it. They're gonna like have a bunch of relics post board probably. So maybe just move away from anything that cares about the graveyard. And like Persist again also gets like a lot worse when you don't have Mulldrifter in your deck. Final live in normal Australian time. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's kind of nice to stream late every once in a while like this. But, you know, I usually like to stick to the schedule. Gonna keep going after this some more. If you're considering pest control as death down, mostly better, still kills all constructs, actually getting utility against Titan and Evoke Elementals. I mean, you like basically never boarding in Titan against Evoke Elementals. Yeah, you could play just down. It is nice that, you know, being black and white and pitching to both is good, but also if you're siding it in, you're probably like not wanting to pitch it basically ever, so there is that to consider, I suppose. Puts it a mold to 6. But yeah, I know we've played against like Hammer ones and Affinity, but I'm just kind of still far away from thinking that we like need a card like Pest Control. Pest Control is probably better in leagues than it is in um I can't really put that back. Probably better in leagues than it is in tournaments. So we could draw a land. That would be nice. My opponent plays an Ornithopter, Urza Saga. Land off the top is kind of... Oh, they're repping Rebuke pretty hard. Affinity players do love their Metallic Rebukes. So I think I'm just going to try to Tidebind Urza Saga Chapter 2. My opponent has spells in their deck. Let's bring in Metallic Rebuke. This is also the thing about Metallic Rebuke. It's just so easy to play around. It's just like just so obvious that it's in your hand. like oh you just played your Ornithopter on turn 2 with no value. Sure you did, buddy. Goodbye, sweet opponent. See you in game 3. They're playing the other Saga into the Ephemerate Rebound. Okay, go to game 3. Let's go. Is this deck a meta threat? You can't really call anything meta like on day 1 of brewing with Satoru, like a new card. Satoru's been really good. I think that a deck with Satoru in it is likely going to be a player in Modern. Is it going to be this? Is it going to be blue-black? Is it going to be like a more graveyard-focused deck? Is it going to be a couple of different Satoru decks? That's what we're here to try to find out. So on the draw for game 3 against Affinity. Yeah, we should have been checking cards drawn per game, but some of these games it's like can't even count that high. Didn't graduate college. Okay, opponent's in the multi-6. I'm going to keep Grief Ephemerate on the draw against Affinity. A little bit scared of Urza Saga, I guess. Satoru fixed Beanstalk. I don't know. So like it's not as good as Beanstalk because it's not a 2-mana cantripping enchantment. What were they thinking with that card? Okay, so ups Ephemerate Rebound. I think I'm going after the drum for sure. I want to stop them from being able to make a Saga token without top decking a mana. Yeah, I just can exile this. I'm just gonna take the Thoughtcast. I can just Solitude the Jailer potentially. I also don't need to like grief their Ornithopter. I don't know. Nah, it was probably better to. Okay, my opponent tried. They have a spell in their hand. They have a spell in their hand, so I guess I have to like grief it here. Oh no, so weird. This game I probably just lose if I don't draw a land and my opponent does. But I just know their card's a spell because that Magic Online told me they were paying costs. So if they don't draw a land here, we are in very good shape. If they do draw a land, we're in very bad shape. They drew an Urza Saga. Well, fair enough. They have so many tap lands in their deck too. Can't help believe they drew a second saga. I need to save the Ephemerate for after Satoru. It's gonna be dead though. They got a drum. This is maybe just to help them make another saga. Another drum. 6. We haven't seen any new cards. Doesn't mean they're not in the deck. It'd be cool if they're playing Synthesizer. I'm not a big Synthesizer believer. Okay. 3-2 both leagues. That's not, bad for a new deck. Satoru looked good. Aegis looked good. We'll, I think, move on from Satoru today. Card seems great, though. We'll definitely be playing a lot more of it on the stream. Yeah, let's just pivot over to Phoenix with high.